Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the season finale of the Straight Line Motorsports GT3 Championship here live at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. I'm your host and commentator for today's combined Pro and Pro-Am race, ST1_RDZ, and today, ladies and gentlemen, we are set to embark on the season finale of what has been an absolutely dicey GT3 season here in the SLM League of Racing. And today, ladies and gentlemen, the drivers are set for the biggest challenge of them all for the season, and that is tackling on the Nürburgring Nordschleife, which is by far now, of course, these guys were here earlier in the season for the regular GP circuit, but now it is time to step up and get your big boy seats on and your big boy straps on, because it is time to tackle on with the Nordschleife. And we've got a lot to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, so we're going to start with our number 270 Lamborghini of Ryra. Of course, he's not had the most. He joined midway through the season at Fuji as an invitational entry, but of course, he's come to life. He's had a couple podium finishes here and there, but of course, for the most part, he's had the pace to win, but he's just had, unfortunately, a couple of unlucky races where he wasn't able to reach the top step of the podium, unfortunately. There is a podium shot right there, and there is the man in fine form this season, the number 95 of Swift, who comes in as championship leader and stands a really good chance here of taking home the prize and taking home the gold this season. He only needs to, of course, we have a estimate number of 11 pro entries here, and Swift only needs to finish 8th or lower in the race today if he needs to win the championship. And Yuri, on the other hand, needs to win. Right, qualifying this time, on the other hand, it's not going to be 10 minutes, but this time will be, as you can see, 20 minutes, because considering the fact that it is the Nordschleife, it's going to be an absolutely dicey one here today. James Head's going to be the first one out to embark on the Nordschleife, and look at the train of cars right behind him. And it is going to be absolutely dicey here today for qualifying. So James Head in the number 7 in a reworked Nissan GTR livery will lead them out. Also, another thing as well to point out as well, this man right here, Dude, has clinched the Pro-Am Championship. So you're looking at the 2019-2020 Pro-Am champion for the Straight Line Motorsports GT3 League. So, of course, he's going to go out today with a bang. So the German, of course, he kind of had his cut work out for him, but of course, he does take home the gold for the Pro-Am honors, and today he'll be running a new Nürburgring-based livery here in celebration, along with his teammate Chris the Crow. Also, another thing of note that the duo of Doug Barrow and Hair Razor have switched to the Mercedes AMG for the finale of this season. Of course, the NSXs, they weren't really that good on the racetrack. Of course, they had some moments here and there, but of course, they just weren't able to reach the top step of the podium like they should have. And of course, he's looking to, of course, set a standard here today for the finale alongside Hair Razor. There is Chris the Crow, who is still second in points in the GT3 Pro-Am Championship. Of course, I don't think there's much in the way for Bar 27 to do much. As a matter of fact, I think the Pro-Am Championship is pretty much just done and dusted, because, of course, these guys, it's about 25 points for first. We only got one race left in this season. Ooh, I think Bar has gone off a bit wide, and I think he's done so. And so the number 27 Corvette on it again. There is Hair Razor in the number 69 Mercedes AMG. Of course, the naturally aspirated 6.3-liter V8 engine, which this car debuted, I think, at its Nürburgring in 2016, and actually swept the top 4 positions of the race, and that included the Haribo team, that's Haribo Bale Motorsports, which that team ran, of course, that livery ran by Swift for the Nürburgring GP race. That, of course, he won that race. There was the Grand J10 in the number 15 Nissan GTR. Of course, this GTR, of course, it's not had the greatest of success around the Nürburgring, and of course, Grand J10, he's had a couple blips here and there in terms of racing in the SLM GT3 Championship, of course, but nothing too much to say more the less. But unfortunately, he'll have to try and get one last hurrah with the Nissan GTR. There is TGIS 78 in the number 78 Porsche 911 RSR, as he is looking to hopefully add a victory or a podium to his credit. Of course, he doesn't have one either way this coming season, but of course would he love it to end on the top step or even on a podium position. There was James Head in the number 7 once again. Of course, he's had an up and down season in GT3, but of course he's had the pace on a couple occasions to actually do well in these races, but unfortunately it's just not been the way he was hoping it would be. Then there is, like I said, the 95 of Swift, and like I said, he's only need to finish 8th or higher in this race to actually clinch the Pro Championship, and he's been on an absolute fine form here. He's been on the top step of the podium 5 times out of the last 11 races, and he also has, to his credit, 3 more podiums as well, 3 more second places. So you do the math, you have a 66% chance of him seeing the podium, and that, right, my friends, is absolutely amazing, friends. And that's big news for Ure, because he is the man that is second in the points, and he is still within a championship hunt. So we're not too sure what the deal is going to be for Ure. Not sure if they're going to back it on out, but that is not good news for Ure, because he is the man in contention for a shot at the championship as well. So we'll see what Prime Steward Elliott will have to say about that. There is SLM Polymer in the 24 sporting a Row sponsored livery. And of course, this man, SLM Polymer, leaving the SLM League at the end of the season. He's been pretty committed to the league since day one, and of course he will be always remembered as one of our true members of the league, and he love it to possibly get a win here today or a podium spot as well. So there is James Head, or not James Head, there is Ure rejoining, so I'm not sure if they're going to restart this race. Oh, James Head has been people have got to be careful on this outlap. There is Elliott, who also has made the switch to the Aston Martin DBR9 GT1. This car obviously getting the homologation to run. We also have another entry in the hands of SDM Viper in that DBR9 GT1 as well, teammate to the number the number 64. So that's 65 entry. Of course, getting his prime share of being run in the So of course it looks like these guys, I think, are just trying to run down on fuel if possible. And Ure once again leaving the room, so that's not good news for Ure. I'm not sure what the deal with that is. I think he's gonna have to try and rejoin the best way he can. But if that's the case, that is not going to be any good news for Ure, who's done so well in this season, only to have it end for him like that in a disconnect. That would be terrible for him, obviously. And then, of course, third in the standings is Benel85. And I'm not sure who B Witty Witty is. I'm not 100% sure who that is. Yeah, everyone is to back out after qualifying for Ure. So the official word coming from Elliott, lead owner of the league. So he will, B Witty Witty going to be asked to leave, of course. Yeah, it looks like these guys are really trying to get down on the fuel so they can be able to have a good lap. But as a matter of fact, we do have some runners, of course. I'm not sure why it's looking back. There we go. Yeah, there we go. So we'll get our first taste of first onboard experience in the Nürburgring at the hands of Doug Barrow in the 13 Mercedes AMG. Of course, efforts doable. Of course, Ure, on the other hand, is going to start all the way at the back of the grid for not being able to qualify. So that is going to be an interesting hint of... That's going to be interesting nonetheless. So Doug Barrow, like I said, going to lead them off for this first opening lap of qualifying. So keep in mind, ladies and gents, that they are going to, so it's a 6-minute 47. I think they're going to have a total of 3 laps to duke it out here for the most part. There is Hair Razor as well, his teammate, not that far off. He is going to also back up his teammate as well to boot. Pro-Am champion Durdude, who's taking a nice little stroll in the Nürburgring countryside. And of course, he really has nothing to lose. He's already done the work. He's already claimed the championship. He's going out for one final ride in this Aston Martin for this 2019-2020 Straight Line Motorsports GT3 season. And there's his teammate Chris the Crow, a 1-2 for this team in the Pro-Am standings. Wouldn't they love it, of course. So Chris the Crow and Durdude doing all the stocks and doing the work, and they've done themselves very, very well here. There is Swift in the 95. And it's going to be interesting to see how Swift does it at the Nürburgring, because earlier this season, in other post-race interviews, it has been said that Swift did say that the Nürburgring is not really one of his better circuits. So it's going to be interesting to see how the 95 of Swift goes about in doing this. The Deutsche Post sponsored AMG. I hope I said that one correctly. Deutsche Post. I think that's how you say it. That entry, of course, really, really on it this season. And wouldn't he love it? Oh, a little bit of a tank slapper out of that turn. Actually, I'm going to load up a map here real quickly, and we can see. Oh, and a really sideways one went for Swift right there. And so he's really, really pushing the limits here today. So let's see if I can get a map here of the Nürburgring, and it looks like I can. I think. Yep, and it looks like I do have the Nürburgring map. So what we'll do is we'll start going down the field once again. And when these guys come up for one final time, we'll get an onboard lap of one of these drivers, and we'll see how they tackle it at the Nordschleife. There's SLM Palmer on his flying lap as well. And we're also Palmer, of course, having his fight with Benel 85 for the pro standings in the championship. Of course, Benel 85 getting the better of Palmer last time out at Interlagos. But of course, it's going to all come down to who can get the better of these two between himself and Benel 85 for third in the standings. James Head in the 7th, rounding the carousel as he, like I said, is on his first flying lap. TGIS also coming to the carousel. Looks like that car's been in the wall a couple of times. He's got a bit of damage on the front end of that car. So that's not good news for him. Bar 27, on the other hand, has seen the wall as well a couple of times as well, as has Grand J10. Yeah, it looks like the Nürburgring has already taken a couple of prisoners, and it's already taken one again as Grand J10 goes a bit too deep into the carousel and just lightly hits the wall. There's Ryra in the Kesselchen, I think that's how you say it. And then coming up to the Mutt Curve, Klosterl, and then Steel Streak going, and then he'll soon find his way at the carousel. Elliott and Viper going out of Bergwerk, going through Kelchen. Also, for the Germans that are watching this, I hope I do say it correctly. So, if I do say it wrong, I do apologize in advance. So, and just listen to the scream of the 6.0 liter V12 in the countryside. Elliott really on it here today. Rounds Mutt Curve, going towards Klosterl, and then he'll find his way at Steel Streak. So there is Steel Streak right there, the old Formula 1 circuit, actually cutting past the carousel. So that's the old layout right there. You saw that little divot and that uphill. That was the old F1 layout used in the, I think, the 60s and the 70s. Oh, Elliott completely cutting the carousel. And so we'll go back up to the front of the field where Doug Barrow is just running Holland Rain, and he's going to bring out the first of the benchmark times in the number 13, and it's going to be a 6:36.6. That's a pretty good lap for him thus far. We'll go with Hairraiser, who will round the second to last corner right there. A 6:38 as well. So it's Doug Barrow. So did Doug Barrow pit that lap? I'm not 100% sure. Swift with a 6:34. So that's a good lap for Swift. Dirty with a 6:41. Ooh, outlap for Chris. So I think he might have pitted. Palmer, what's he got in store? It's only good enough for second, but 1.5 seconds off of Swift. What about James Head? Where does he pop up? He pops up fourth. Only 6.7 seconds back. Oh, and he's already messed up the lap. Wow, so that's not good news for James Head. TGIS, oh, really hard on the brakes. Oh, and I think it might be a bit too hard. He's actually kept it together, so that's good for him. And these guys are going to get one more lap, 6:45, so he's well down the order, 11 seconds back. Grand J10 coming through the final corner. And good enough for 6th overall. And he's first of the pro guys, so that's good for him. And we've got a couple more coming down the back straight. Bar 27. Going past Tiergarten. And then going down to Hottenrain. Hottenrain, I think that's how you say it. Ryra passing Tiergarten. And then you've got a couple more entries on further back. That being Elliott, who's going to Antoine Ushbuk. And then going to Tiergarten. 7:43 for Barr, so he's had an absolutely slow lap. Ryra sets a 6:39, so that's a very good lap for him. I don't think it's good enough for the top 3, but I think it's good enough for 4th. Oh, hard on the brakes, Elliott. Oh, I don't think he's going to get that pole position of Swift, but he's going to try it regardless. And he's good enough for 3rd, so a good lap for him, of course. What about Viper? He's good enough for 6th. Ryra, I think, is going to finish up this qualifying, and he's good enough for 5th. Oh, a near accident right there between Viper and Ryra. I'm not sure how that looked. I can't get a replay. Actually, I think we're going to get a replay. Oh my God, what a close accident that was. And not smart thinking of Ryra, knowing that there was a faster car coming. Oh, and he's already bossed up Viper's laps. That's not good news right there. Benel 85 with a 6:39. And Ryra's gone straight back to the pits, so I think he's pretty set for 5th. TGIS as well gone back to the pits, so I think he's pretty set with P9. A 5/10 penalty for Viper, so we'll see what that man can do. Doug Barrow, who set it the first lap, actually he's all the way down to 12, so we got a couple of people setting some new laps. I'm pretty sure some people have actually pitted for new rubber, which is a wise thing to do after you do an outlap, because you do another outlap and then you have one lap just to do it. So we'll go back up to the man on pole position, Swift, who, if he can keep this pole position, will make life extremely difficult for Ure and trying to take the Pro Championship away from Swift. And so I think here on this qualifying, and we're going to see how things play out. SLM Polymer in 2nd place, going towards the steel streak. And the young British driver looking to hopefully keep a front row start. Going to try and warm up the tires a little bit, which I don't think that would be a wise thing to do. And as a matter of fact, it's not, because he's almost cleared the carousel. And he's got that Nissan GT3 of James Head behind him. So he's going to give a bit of a tow. So Yuri's saying room is full. We'll wait till qualifying ends. I'm going to go in and say we will make room for you after qualifying. So we'll go back to Elliott, who is still third in this 64 DBR1. Let's take a look at sector times right now. Let's see who's improving. A lot of green sectors along the board. Benel 85 having a good sector. Not a lot of improvements. However, Durdude is on a overall best sector 4. Benel 85 with the best sector 6 of everybody. Swift with the best sector 7. And a lot of purple sectors. Actually, not that many purple sectors this lap. Well, as a matter of fact, a handful for this time by. So we'll take a look at where everyone is. So you can see the flashing one. That is the number 1 of Swift. We'll go back to the 12th place man of Doug Barrow, who I think just might get another lap in if he is really on it here today and is able to improve. I'll tell you what, it is going to be close. I think he's too far off, because I think normally you'd be a 6:34, you'd be right on it here today. So Doug Barrow going to be the first of many to finish this qualifying, and he is going to set down a 6:39, good enough for 5th. There is Swift and Hair Razor. And there is Durdude, who will finish his qualifying as a result. Swift, on the other hand, will he improve is the big question, and he does to a 1.8. Durdude to 2nd overall with a 6:34. What a lap he's had! Holy moly! So it looks like the new Pro-Am champion is going to try and duke it out with some of the pros. What a lap he's had! And Palmer clearly not on a good lap as a result. Krista Crow goes to a 6:46, good enough for 11th. Viper still has that 4/10 penalty to work with and to serve. Oh, Benel 85 really on it here today. And so we'll go to the rest of the grid where no one has been able to improve for the most part. So let's see where we got some improved takers. We got the Grand J10, the next one coming to the end of this. Bar 27 not having a good day so far on the Nordschleife. He's really off the pace. However, he's really up by 32 seconds, but I don't think it's going to be that much enough to make that much of an improvement. Grand J10 is going to be the next one to come across the start-finish straight. He's down by 2 seconds. I don't think this might be enough of an improvement. No, he's really off on his personal best, so he's only going to be good enough for 13th. There is Elliott, but who's that car in front is the big question. That is Bar 27, so he is going to come through to end this qualifying session as well. We do still, however, have 4 more cars to work with for this qualifying session. So Bar going to improve, but I don't think he's going to improve on position. So Bar with a 707, but no improvement. Elliott, though, oh, it's going to be a close. I think he just boxed up that final corner, and he's just not going to improve by 7/10 of a second. Viper, on the other hand, has cleared that penalty, but he's not going to improve. So he will start from P9 as a result. Who is that at the coming towards the downhill? That is Benel 85, Ryrot retiring, of course. That's who was at the back of the field. Oh, he's actually pretty close for the most part. Ben 85 hoping to try and get up the order if he can. He has to really get up on for SLM Polymer. He's actually had a pretty good lap. I think he's going to improve, but where is he going to improve is the question. Right up to second place! So a great lap for Ben 85, but it is Swift in the 95 who will take pole position. And I think someone's got to finish this lap, and I think it might be Ryros. So I think, unfortunately, we might be here stuck for 5 more minutes as a result. But there is your pole sitter in the 95 of Swift. What a good lap for him. And what a good lap for Durdude as well, by the way. Only 3/10 slower than Ben 85. But the new Pro-Am champion, he's already up with most of the pro guys. He's already looking to make a name for himself here around the Nordschleife. And what a final lap, too, for Ben 85 as well, and that Toyota Supra GT3 as well. He had a really, really good lap here. Let's take a look at some of the sector times as well while they got the chance as well. So a couple purple sectors at the end for Ben 85, but it was Swift who had a large margin, who had a really good sector, 11 and 12 at the end of that. Take a look, see who's had a couple of purple sectors as well. Elliott had the best sector 7 of anybody. Ben 85 with best sectors 6 and 9 as well. Durdude with best sector 4 of anybody as well. And a lot of green sectors all across the board. So you can tell the improvements of Ben 85. Only 4 gray sectors, 3 gray sectors as I speak. But what a good lap that was for the most part. And it looks like everyone had a very, very good qualifying to boot as well. And so what we'll do is while we have time, we'll take a look back down the field for those. Swift, like I said, in the 95, having one of the most successful careers here in the Straight Line Motorsports GT3 Championship with 5 wins to his credit and 3 further podium visits as well, making for a 66% chance of him seeing on the podium. So 8 out of 11 races, he's been on the podium for all of them, and he'll start off strong here today for the championship with a pole position. Then it is Ben 85 in second place here for today's race. He's third in the standings, but well beyond out of championship reach, but he does have a championship fight with SLM Polymer, who will line up in P4 for this race as well. Then it is Durdude, our Pro-Am pole position leader as well, and also the championship winner as well for the Pro-Am class. He is really going to be stepping up here to the Pro class, and he's already done so by claiming himself 3rd overall, but 1st in the Pro-Am category. Then it is SLM Polymer, 3rd in the Pro category as well, but 4th overall. He's had a very, very lustrous time here in the Straight Line Motorsports League. And of course, he did state that he will be leaving the league at the end of the season, and he will be certainly missed after the end of the season as well. Elliott in this Aston Martin DBR9 GT1 car, the 6.0 liter V12. Of course, good enough for 5th, but I think that V12 Vantage might be just a little bit more nimble than the grandfather counterpart to that as well. Then there is Hairraiser in the 2nd highest Mercedes AMG of 6th. He had a good time as well. He's only 5.977 seconds off of Swift for the most part, but he's not that far off for the most part in terms of everyone. And Doug Barrow also making it all Mercedes AMGs in the top 7 as well. So the 13 looking for a good start here to this race as well. Ryra in 8th. He's actually gone back out. So I think he's trying to get as little practice as he can. So he's in full control of his vehicle, but he is, of course, going to line up 8th. Then it is SDM Viper in 9th place. Going to start in that number 65 Aston Martin to Elliott F64 as well. Then it is going to be James Head in the number 7, who will also line up in 10th place as well. Krista Crow in 11th place, then TGIS in 12th. 13th, Grand J10 Bar 27 will round out the grid in the Haas-sponsored Corvette C7 GT3R. So qualifier has ended, but we will back out of the field to get Yuri back in, but he will have to start at the back of the grid. So this is not the official race start. So what we'll do is we'll take ourselves away, and so we'll get everyone back on out. So Viper's going to start last because it's invitational, so I'm not sure how that... Excuse me, my bad. Whew. Don't know when those sneezes are going to come by, but we do need everyone back out. Yeah, Elliot saying back on out. So we will back out real quickly. We'll stand by with technical difficulties, and we'll see you guys real shortly. So it looks like our technical difficulties have been resolved. Of course, I have stated a message that everyone at the end of this race will be getting an invite to have a get-together for one last time to commemorate the end of this season. And there is our start to the race as well. 60 minutes of the green hell, ready to get it on here. And there is Yuri, who is going to have to do a bit of work to get from the back of the field up to Swift to challenge for the GT3 championship. And if it's going to have to be a drive for Yuri of his life, it's going to have to be right now. There you can see Swift in the 95 takes pole position, Benno 85 on second, Durdu first of the Pro-Am guys in third. What a stunner lap he's had. Palmer in fourth, Elliott in fifth, Hairraiser sixth, Doug Barrow seventh, and there's a lot more down the field to go. So we'll go down to the rest of the grid. Of course, Yuri at the back, Viper at the back of the grid because he is an invitational entry as well. All these guys getting on the back of the grid. When do the red lights go out? And they go out now as we speak. So the 60 minutes of the green hell are underway. Swift first of the guys. Of course, Durdu getting up second, but that's because Ben 85 doesn't get a good start out of the Subaru, which is quite unexpected. Elliott, on the other hand, has had a good start. So Elliott F64 and that S-Martin DBR1 already pressuring the number 8 of Ben 85. Of course, patience is key here at the Nordschleife. If you feel like a move is necessary, you take it while you can get it. Of course, I did used to run a race back in the another undisclosed league, of course, pending Elliott's permission to not advertise any of the leagues, of course, but I used to ran in the nighttime at the Nordschleife or the Nürburgring GP in the nighttime, and that even was chaotic as it was standing. Oh, look at the amount of cars here. Oh, from the back view of the number 64, you can see how fine line. Oh, and the Hairraiser. Oh, and a bit of contact. He's forced Elliott a bit wide, and that was at the expense of Doug Barrow, who will gladly give that position on back. So we'll take a look at that again from the number 13, who's already sparked up an incident with the number 64. Oh, just very, very late on the brakes. Oh, he's hit the number 64 a bit wide, gives that position back, no problemo at all. But it's dropped himself back down to 8th, and Elliott back down to P7. Yuri has already got himself up into P10 on that start, so he's had a good start in that pro running number 77 Audi Sports Sidemax Motorworks entry. So if Yuri needs a drive, it's going to have to be right about now. So Tina, welcome to the live stream, bud. Let's see how good the DBR9 is. It's actually pretty good on a straight if it's tuned right, but we don't run tuning in our league. So for the most part, the top end 6th gear, it's not really that beneficial, but it's good as an overdrive gear for the most part. And yeah, Doug did outbrake himself, unfortunately, right there. So we'll take a look and see how that goes out about. S-Team Viper, the Invitational GT Pro entry. Oh, he's had a bit of an incident as well on the front end of that car as well, so I'm not sure what the deal with that is. Oh, Grand J10 goes a bit into the wall, so I think a bit too much momentum going in, so that's not good news for him. Swift continues to lead the way. And yeah, the DBR9 does have a tendency to understand. Yeah, I have a couple of league buddies outside this league that I talk to as well, and one of them does, he says, yeah, that DBR9 does have a load of understeer as well, because I think that's because of the fact that it has a longer wheelbase than the traditional Vantage that you see that Durdude and Krista Crow usually typically run. But of course, I think Aston Martin got that fixed with a shorter wheelbase, and of course it gives this Aston Martin, like here you see here, Durdude, a much shorter wheelbase than the grandfather GT1 edition. And Durdude doing an absolutely fine job here, representing representing the pro guys, saying, hey, I can compete with some of the pro guys as well. Just watch me lap the Nürburgring here like no business. Ben 85 has already got himself back up into P3, or has been up into P3 for the most part, besides that Elliott incident with Elliott for the most part. Hairraiser up into P4, have to withstand a bit of a pressure from behind, courtesy of SLM Palmer, who will make his final GT3 restart of the And would it be a good day for Palmer if he can be able to land himself up on the podium as well? So that would be a good day for him in the box office. There's Elliott in 6th, who's making his recovery drive, of course. What we'll do for one of these laps as well, we'll take you on for an onboard lap of the Nordschleife. There is Ryra in the 270 Lamborghini. Go on board with the hood view. Oh, and that's a disconnect from Ure! Oh my goodness gracious! And Ure, with that disconnect, means that Swift will clinch the Pro-Am Championship. Oh my goodness gracious, that is not good news for Ure, who did super well in this season, and then just like that, a disconnect takes him out of the race. Oh my goodness me, you have to feel bad for Ure. He's done an absolutely amazing amount of work to get up to where he is now, trying to withstand a charge from Swift. And unfortunately, I think Swift will clinch the Pro Championship here today. So the two champions of the SLM GT3 League, 1-2 at the moment. Oh, and that's such a shame for Ure. You have to feel that he is feeling frustrated at the moment. It's such a bad thing to do for the most part. And so we'll go down where there is a bit of action to be had. Of course, Palmer still on the back heels of Palmer. Go on board with that onboard shot right now. The BMW very good in a straight line as well, but let's see how the Mercedes is good as well at responding to that alongside each other for the most part. And these two now going to be side by side going towards the Antoine Nürburgring, down to Tiergarten and then Hohenrain. So they're rounding the Antoine Nürburgring now, down Tiergarten. Oh, and Palmer, let's see how late on the brakes he can get. A little bit off the throttle for the most part, but that BMW has a bit of good brakes as well. Hair Razor, not so good of brakes as you would wish to have. So Doug Barrow and Elliott getting back with each other once again. I think Elliott has had a bit of an incident, and Doug Barrow doing a good job getting back up into the top 6. And there is Ryra, once again, still in 8th place. Not that far off the leading pack. But of course, he will have to find a bit of time for the most part to get back up there. James Ed in 9th place in the Nissan GTR. I think the Nürburgring Nordschleife really brings out the best who can really just put it on the track, because if you can have a good race and really make a name for yourself on the Nordschleife and do very well, you'd be really respected within your said league, of course. There was Chris the Crow in the number 71. Of course, he's about 20 seconds behind as well. SD and Viper, I think that Aston Martin has seen a bit too much going into the wall. There's already a bit of scuff marks on the front end of that Aston Martin. Oh, Jesus, my bad. And so Grand J10, TGIS, and Bar 27 rounding off the grid. Grand J10, 1.6 seconds faster since second one out of everybody, which is quite a surprise for being in 12th place. Elliott cut one of the corners, and good thing the penalties is fixed. I'm not sure if we caught Elliott. I think I caught Elliott cutting the corner as well, but we'll take a look at that. And I think the penalty might say the reason otherwise. So we'll take a look and see. Oh, a bit of dirt kicked up right there. I'm not sure if that was for another car. I don't think so, but let's keep an eye on this battle for the meanwhile. On board now with Elliott in the number 64. And we'll see what he can do, of course. So this Aston Martin, you don't see a big screen on the front. That's because you're only using, very close Elliott for Elliott right there. Instead of just seeing you know, a big screen giving you all this telemetry data and whatnot. You only have just a gear number that you're in. So number 3, red, yellow, and green rev indicator, and then you also have your kilometers per hour. That's all you get in these old-fashioned GT1 cars, and that's what only you had in a GT1 car. These cars, so synonymous with the previous gen FI8 GT1 series. And of course, they're getting a little bit more life here today in 2020, 10 years later after they were built. Oh, Elliott is so close to understeering, completely off at the Bergwerk corner. And he's able to just keep it on. Oh, love the panoramic views of the in-game here for the Nordschleife. It's always good to hear a screaming 6.0 liter V12 in the Nürburgring countryside. So we go back up to the front of the field now. We'll go with SLM Polymer, who has cleared Hairraiser. Hairraiser's losing out on a bit of time as well. I thought he had a penalty for a split second, but I guess I thought otherwise. There is Ben 85, who, like I said, is also in a championship battle for 3rd place with the man behind SLM Polymer as well. And these two guys having a scrap of their own for, you know, even though it's no point in the championship to get 1st place, but you still want to be able to as high place as you can. You want to be able to get, like, have that kind of like that. You want to have that sort of respect in a way, if you know what I mean. So if Ben 85 can get 3rd in the standings, that would be great for him in the Toyota Supra, because he's had a good season more or less as well. And how about a season for Dirtdude as well? He's had a very, very successful career as well. Oh, that Swift has gone wide, and I think he's had a bit of a tank slapper as well. We'll take a look at that. So Swift having a bit of an incident. Let's see what the issue with that is right there. Bit too much curb. Oh, a bit too much onto the grass. Oh, bit into in the side, but of course that means he's got the Aston Martin of Dirtdude, who is a Pro-Am contender. That means these guys aren't fighting for, they're not fighting for class position, but of course they're fighting for overall position. And Dirtdude, of course, he is a Pro-Am guy, but he would absolutely love it if a Pro-Am guy would win this race. And that would mean the first time in the history of this season when a Pro-Am guy win a SLM GT3 race overall. That would be absolutely great. And so Swift, yeah, like I said, he lost a bit of time, of course, to Dirtdude as well. But Dirtdude just really, really on it here today. We've gone board now with the German, who's really, really on it here, like I said. So 2nd carousel, called the Kleins carousel? Kleins carousel. Now going to Galgenkloft. Oh, was that a bit of a sideways moment for Dirtdude as well? We'll take a look at that real quickly. So we'll see if Dirtdude had a bit of an incident or took it a bit too deep into the Galgenkloft. Oh, I think so. If not, just had a perfect line. He's had to let off. Oh yeah, that's the replay ending right there as we speak. So Swift's got a bit of a breakaway, but of course that's going to all come down because of the slipstream that Dirtdude is going to get. 175, 176. I think that's about as much that Swift is going to be able to top back on out. He's going to wisely place himself behind Swift. He's not going to try and force a mistake or an issue for Swift, because Swift would really love it to win here and take the championship as well. So lap number 2 of the 60 minutes of the Green Hell. Dirtdude with a faster lap of 6:35. What a lap he's had as well for these two guys. And like I said, they're not fighting for, you know, class honors, Pro and Pro-Am. Swift is in Pro, Dirtdude is in Pro-Am, but wouldn't Dirtdude love it if he would be able to take his championship win 1 season ago and be able to win here today at the Nordschleife in the Nürburgring themed Aston Martin. Ben 85. Oh, what's happened to Polymer? Because penalties galore here. What is up with all the penalties here? There are so many penalties here. Oh, Doug Barrow's gone a bit too wide. Oh, and he's going to force a bit of a mistake. Is that Ben 85 has gone off as well? Oh! Oh, he's had a bit of a prior incident as well. So we'll take a look at that. So we'll see what's happened to Battle 85. Oh, I don't think we can get a bit of an incident, but he's had a hit with the wall, and he's lost that third place to Elliott, who's going to lead this charge up the front stretch. Look at the amount of cars here going up towards Nürburgring. Elliott in third, Doug Barrow fourth, Palmer fifth, Hair Razor seventh. Oh, and that's going to be Viper to the commentary box as well. So I think we might have to get Viper in the commentary box as well. So, of course, that one-off invitational entry, I guess, not working out for S-Team Viper for the most part. We'll get him in the commentator's box as well. So we'll get him in, like I said. All right, and of course that is the invitational entry that he needed, of course. So we're now down to 12 entries here today, meaning there's one DBR9 GT1 left to go. And we'll go on board now with the Mercedes of Hair Razor, who's still following this train of cars at the moment. Of course, they're still in hot pursuit of the lead pack of Dirt Dude and Swift. And Ben 85 not that far off. He's only 5 seconds back. Ooh, bit of a serving of a bit of a penalties right there. So that's going to cause a bit of a train as well. I think Elliott might have just parked him up a little bit. I'm not 100% sure, but there's a yellow flag somewhere. And that's because that Swift's going around! And Swift has gone around out of the race lead. So what has happened here to the 95 of Swift? Has he just taken a bit too much and understeer completely off? Yes, he has. Oh, a bit too much onto the grass, and that's going to allow Dirt Dude, the Pro-Am guy, to lead the way. Swift still in second, but he's 10 seconds back from the Pro-Am leader of Dirt Dude. So what a race for Dirt Dude. For the most part, absolutely on it here today. And we also have S-Team Viper joining us in the comments box as well. Say hi, S-Team Viper.
Hello, all spectators.
Oh, and Elliott with an aggressive move down to the inside. What a pass that was. And Swift showing the flash of lights, not liking that one, of course. So we'll take a look at that incident. We'll take a look at that move as well. But what a move by Elliott.
Oh, there's a Swift. Oh, he's getting really loose. Oh, there's a Swift again.
Oh, and Swift, oh, just forcing up the inside. What a move that was by Swift, by Elliott. As another spin for Swift. I don't think it was, but Swift is going to be absolutely heated in that driver's, in that interior of that Mercedes AMG.
Absolutely.
Swift can't get too cocky behind the wheel because he's got to still preserve the tires and be able to make these pit stops. And it looks like someone else might have just left the race as well. Is it the hands of Ryrot? Yes, it is Ryrot in the 270 who has also left the race. And Elliott now getting by the number 95 of Swift. It's going to be on a charge to get up front to Dirt Dude, who has had an absolutely sensational weekend here. He's a Pro-Am guy, and he's leading this race by 10 seconds. What an absolute race for Dirt Dude. And wouldn't he love it to win here today, showing it to the pro guys, of course.
Yeah, this would be a huge and emotional win, not just for the Pro-Am class, but just, you know, nationality. He's from the home country of Germany, and this would quite be a celebration for him here today.
We'll turn our eyes back up to this four-car pack for third place at the moment, where it's now Swift who now leads this four-car train for third place at the moment. He's put a foot wrong at the, I want to say, the Cullenhard, I think that's the name of the corner. No, that's just after Osvart Breakschild, I think that's how you say it.
Little shove from Palmer there. And open the door for the two customers going on this fight here.
Onboard now in the interior view of SLM Polymer, who's still in hot pursuit. Oh, is that Elliott who's had a bit of an incident as well, because he's lost out on a ton of time. So has he had a spin somewhere?
Maybe he got the car sideways a little bit here, but...
And he's got it on the gravel trap. Oh, was there a spin here coming into the second carousel?
He's got a half-second penalty from somewhere.
Yeah, I don't think he's lost that much time. It has to be some sort of incident that he's lost, because he's lost an insizable amount of time, I think, between himself and Swift.
Yeah, the SLM DBR9. You all just saw me there on the racetrack with the second DBR9, but obviously, you know, not the day that I was happening. So I just said, you know what, I'm going to park the car. It was just an invitational entry from Elliot. He said, hey, why don't you come along and race for the season finale? I said, sure. So, well, actually, we're seeing pit stops as we speak.
Yeah,
right
we're
here.
seeing a humongous amount of pit stops right here. The top 6 into the pits. Dirtdude as well. Ben 85. Everyone. That is an absolute no-brainer to come into the pits. As you can see, Dirtdude has had a bit of a down with his fuel consumption. So I think if he can get back out of the head as well, and he's back out in front, back in the lead.
Yeah, this Aston Martin Vantage here. Really fuel conservative, even though it has the...
Doug Barrow back out in second place, so the Mercedes of Doug Barrow paying dividends by getting a bit less fuel, I'm pretty sure.
And Swift is back around the 64 of Elliott again.
Yeah, and Ben 85 actually getting back up into P3, so after the incident he's had early in this race, he's got himself back up into third place. What a strong showing for Ben 85, the two Germans occupying first and third in this race.
Yeah, I was just touching up on the topic of the DBR9 here around this racetrack. You know, it's a fast car in the straights, but, you know, kind of lacks a little bit more of the steering handling side of things. But, you know, very fun car to drive around this track here. I was glad to get a couple laps around the car around this glorious track here, but
We'll take it on board with the 95 of Swift, who is just, like I said, on one of the fastest parts of the circuit. He's actually having a bit of a difficult time keeping up with the Toyota Supra of Ben 95, who has a sizable top speed difference between himself and the AMG of Swift. Oh, bit of a low-key corner cut from Swift, I'm pretty sure, but I don't think it might have hampered his progress that much enough. But at the moment, we have 6 cars battling it out from 3rd to 9th, all, I think, within the space of, I want to say, 2-3-ish seconds at the moment. And if you...
probably 3rd to 7th. Actually, no.
Well, you got Doug Barrow in front, who's not even that far off, and plus he's got a 3/10 penalty as well, so that's something interesting to keep in mind as well. Oh, and is that a corner cut from Swift?
That was definitely a corner cut. Swift. Oh, there goes Elliott.
Oh, Elliott goes around.
Oh, that's not good. Elliott's not going to be happy with that one right there.
So we'll take a look at the incident with Swift to see what happened. Oh, as a matter of fact, I think he was bumped wide by the number 64. Oh, and he's just completely cocked him off.
That's probably payback right there.
Yeah, I want to take a look at that incident again real quickly with Elliott. Yep, he's just completely dive-bombed him.
Yep.
And Swift, yep, he's just completely turned off Elliott. And Elliott now all the way down to P7, but a sizable 3.4 seconds off of 6th place Hair Racer.
Absolutely pro-am guy of Dirty, just nowhere in sight of the second guy behind him. He's currently 7 seconds ahead of the next guy, which is Doug Barrow, and the actually one of the other what is it? The first of the pro guys, I suspect.
For Doug Barrow, yes, he is first in pro, so he's had a bit of a good day showing thus far. And as a matter of fact, very sideways indeed for Doug Barrow. We'll take a quick look at that again real quickly, but...
Here comes Ben L for second. He's going to get second place right here. Oh, little door slammer right there. Oh, he's going to drive right on by.
And so Ben L85 back up into the pro class lead at the moment.
Yeah, this Toyota Supra really fuel efficient, really good in the corners. Good all around, good car, Toyota Supra. Very stable platform.
Yeah, it's kind of unusual to say this, but it's just like they're the Pro-Am guy leading this race. So, first in pro, first in class. So it's a really unusual thing to say here in the SLM GT3 League. And of course, Ben 85, first of the pro guys for the most part. Dude, just absolutely on it here today at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. I think it's just really safe to say that the Pro-Am champion has a very good fitting for the GT3 Pro Championship.
It would be quite the celebration if this man, Dude 14, would come here and win overall, despite being the Pro-Am class. This and a German winning on a German racetrack. This will be an absolutely huge and emotional win for this young driver.
Yeah, Dude, kind of having an unchallenged season in Pro-Am, but I think he's just having his work really cut out for him. He had a really good lap in qualifying, setting himself third overall, and that's not easy to do with a bunch of pro guys as well to boot as well. And he's absolutely on it here today. While he's rounding up at the Else curve and then the Flatsgarden and then Spurgenhall and that section of the course, the second Pro-Am guy is Krista Crow, and he's all the way at Hedwig Show. He's all the way at Hedwig Show, and then at Wipperman. He's he's 38 seconds back from Dude, who is our Pro-Am leader. And then Grand G10 at the Carousel, and then Bar 27 all the way back at the Bergwerk corner. We'll go back up to the second place car of Doug Barrow, who himself and Ben 85, I think, have gotten themselves away from the pro guys, and Swift all the way down to P6. What has happened to this? What has happened to Swift?
If Swift has a bad day enough, he could actually possibly, and there's a small chance, he could maybe use the championship, but mathematically, I think
no, it's impossible because Ben 85 is well out of the championship running. And yellow flags from somebody, and that's Doug Barrow who's gone around. Oh, he's backed out. And what has happened to Doug Barrow?
Something happened to Doug Barrow.
Something has happened to Doug Barrow. What is the issue for that as well? Oh, that little curb. That's a very devious corner at the Galgenkopf corner. That really and he's just had an incident with Swift as well.
Yeah, not great.
Oh, Doug Barrow did absolutely well, and that little bump and that little curb on the inside of Galgenkopf just absolutely caught him off guard, and that's not what he needed right there. He's all the way down to P7.
So now, Ben 85 is currently 2 seconds ahead of third place, which is Hairraiser, and now Hairraiser and Palmer are now battling for third place in the. Second place in the pro class, third place overall in this race.
Yeah, Hairraiser actually having a pretty good day thus far in this late season switch to the Mercedes AMG GT3. And of course, he's having to defend from the 24 of Polymer as well. Of course, not a lot of these guys have put a foot wrong here in this race. So in terms of actual race pace, getting their stuff together, these guys have really been on it here today.
Yeah, like I said, I only had probably an hour of testing to do for this racetrack, and it just wasn't enough to tackle this long course, the green hell up and over green.
Yeah, we'll go on board now with the number 69 of Hairraiser, that Costa-sponsored Mercedes AMG entry, as he has to defend himself against the third place pro competitor of SLM Polymer.
Palmer's going to draft. He's going to try and do this. He's going to try and swing around. Gonna wait, take his time,
He's gonna just have to hang on for the most part. He's not gonna force an issue for this race. Oh, Hairraiser gonna get a bit too wide, and it's gonna allow Polymer to go side by side with the Mercedes number 69. Oh, a bit of argy-bargy going between the two, and I think Hairraiser just kind of shut the door. Polymer, of course, didn't like that, so a flicker of the lights showing that he did not like that. There it is once again. Oh, Hairraiser completely airborne here.
Wow, that was immense. All four tires, it seemed like, lifted off the ground right there. That was incredible driving right there from Hairraiser. This battle's still going strong here today. Was third place, Palmer. Hanging back, looking for an opportunity. He's going to make it too wide. Going to try and look for the inside here. Will he take it? Will he take it? Oh, it's going to door slam. Harry's on the way out, and Palmer has just taken third place of this race here today, with about just over a half hour to go left in this race. Swift looking at the wings here to see if anything else. Hair Raiser back on the charge with Palmer here.
And so Palmer getting by for third place. We'll take a look and see if we can get that real quickly as well. Actually, we can't because I'm a bit too late on that replay as well. So nothing doing there for me, unfortunately. But of course, we'll see how we can go about for things here in the final 30 minutes of this race.
Looks like Swift is catching a little bit too.
Yes, Swift is kind of coming back in a way. Of course, the 95 of Swift in that Mercedes AMG, the Deutsches Post themed Mercedes. Of course, he's... Oh, there's a big incident between Palmer and the Hair Raiser.
Oh, what in the world is
Wow, what is... Was this between Hair... Ooh, who's the culprit here to blame here? We'll take a look and see what has happened here.
You think it was Hair Raiser?
Oh, definitely. Oh, that is not good. He's just completely dumped Palmer off the racetrack, and Swift is now back into third.
Yeah, that will definitely be looked at by the steward after this race here.
He's given Matt the position, but he's considerably lost a ton of time for these front runners, of course, and Swift now getting back into second place of this pro class.
Yes, Swift bouncing back here. Not the day that he's had so far, but better said than none. He's walking home with the championship, mathematically speaking, but the battle between Benno 85 and Palmer still rages on, but Benno possibly with the upper hand for third place in the championship here.
And so Swift now second now, back up in second place for Pro. Of course, third overall thanks to the Pro-Am leading of Durdude. And there's not much time left on the clock thus far.
Yeah, half hour goes pretty quickly around this track.
Yeah, it kind of does. We're only about on lap number 5 for the most part. So, of course, see what's going on. There is our pro leader, Benno 85. He's only about 4 seconds clear of Swift, but I think Benno 85 just really going out the most that he can here to try and keep third in the pro standings for the most part.
Yeah, I think he's actually catching Durdude because he's only 8 seconds back, and the last time we checked by, it was actually 10 seconds.
Ooh, bit of a gravel trap moment for Benno 85. We'll take a look at that. Let's see if the RPMs kick up a little bit in this section of the course. And you'll see here, oh, a bit of an understeer moment. Oh yeah, just he had to completely let off the throttle right there and just be able to make sure he was not going to be victim of losing that second place as well. Durdude, of course, still getting, that means that Durdude has got himself a bit of a time bonus as well, but Swift has just been catching up to Benno 85 thus far.
Yeah, Swift now 3.5 seconds back from the pro leader of Benno 85. Swift could be very aggressive on this track here. So can Benno 85, as well as the longevity of that race car here today.
And you just saw there for a split second, you could see how big the difference is between the lead. 9 seconds, it doesn't look that much. When you counter in 9 seconds of a lead difference between Durdude and Benno 85 for the overall lead of this race, it's a pretty significant difference if you think about it.
Yeah, the straight really tells a tale here today. And we may see some hard charging racing here in this final half hour of this race.
It looks like Hair Raiser has gotten by for 4th place on SLM Polymer. Elliott not even that far off as well. But of course these guys are going to try and duke it out for 3rd place in the pro position.
Is Hair Raiser and Palmer, Hair Raiser in the championship hunt for 3rd place, if I'm speaking correctly? No.
And so, of course, Elliott not that far off behind for 6th place at the moment. And of course, Swift not that far off for the most part between these two. But these two just really going at it here on the racetrack and just trying to get as what little points as they can in the championship, and trying to get, and especially just try and get bragging rights here at the Nordschleife. It's easily one of the most well-recognized circuits in the world. And of course, winning, and then of course, there's not many people that can say that I have won the Nordschleife, and especially if you're Der Dude, I have won the Der Dude in a lower class than everyone else. That would be something pretty exceptional to see here today if Der Dude can hold on for the race lead.
Oh, look like Hair Razor.
Oh, side-by-side moment for these two, and I think Hair Razor might have had a bit of a moment because I think he's easily let Palmer by.
Yeah, he got on the grass here a little bit. Is what I think happened.
Yeah, and so...
And look how close Elliott is now. He's about 1.4 seconds back from these two here, so he could have a shot for 4th place here.
Yeah, Elliott really not that far off for the most part. He's really been on it here in this number 64 Aston Martin DBR9 GT1 car. Oh, you just see how aggressive he's attacking the curves here. These are pretty high curves for some GT3 cars. And so that's how they kind of ran it back in the old days. In the old days of the Nordschleife, they were just basically just like curves. Like they were just like roadside curves, and they just stuck up so high where if you just hit them, you'd be going completely off the circuit.
Oh, no doubt about it. These guys, they were just having to watch whenever they could and just be slightly more agilical and more care-worthy around this racetrack. And now we've got proper race curves installed here. These guys can pack it. Whoa, that looked like a little bit of too much corner cutting from Hair Razor there. He's really trying to get up there, but Palmer is actually kind of getting away from Hair Razor in that BMW right now. And so this battle continues on. This 3-car gap is going to be, looks to be evenly split now between these two guys. And now Elliott is going to look to find his way into this battle here. The draft and the slipstream is that car's best friend right now. And we're going to see some hard charging here from Elliott. We're going to see what this Aston Martin can do here on the straights. Elliott needs to get in the draft of these two cars, but it looks like Harris is actually wheeling in the BMW of Palmer right now.
I apologize. I hate to interrupt you, CJ, but for those that are joining in the live stream as well, Ure unfortunately disconnected at the midway through the first lap, and unfortunately that was day over for him. Unfortunately, so of course, and that means Swift will clinch the Pro Championship. So, unfortunate for those that are joining in, wondering where Ure is, but of course, he did disconnect in the first lap of this race.
Yes.
Do continue, Viper.
Yeah, such a shame for Ure. He's having such a good run. Had to start in the back of the pack due to the problems in qualifying, but you know, his problems could be resolved in time, and so Ure out of the championship hunt here for today.
Yeah, we do hope that even though that Ure did disconnect and lose the championship, we do hope that in the future that he can, of course, run in more championships, and we just hope that, like, you know, he shouldn't take this loss pretty seriously. He has done himself very well, and he has the potential to win championships.
Oh yeah, no doubt. The Ure, the very fast Spaniard, took 2 race wins already this season. One at Nürburgring, one at Interlagos. Really had to fight hard to get back into the championship hunt. Oh, looks like Harris has just got 1 foot wrong there. Almost cost me second. Now Elliott's all in the back bumper. Now he's gonna have a shot for 5th place here today. Oh, and there goes Harris, and he's just gone off. Harris is just gone off, and he spun. Air Razor's fun! And now Doug Barrow goes on by. Hair Razor now. Oh, Hair Razor just not having a good result now. 1 foot wrong could cost a leading mistake. Trying to get the car back on the racing track. Tough break for Hair Razor.
Yeah, I'm just getting the replay now of Hair Razor's incident. And of course, that will regulate him all the way down to P6 in Pro. And Doug Barrow will go back up into 5th for Pro. Elliott now up in 5th place for Pro. And it looks like these guys might be coming in to get their pit stops. Durdude, I think, is typing something out because he's in ghost mode at the moment. Oh, never mind now. So I think whatever Durdude needed to take care of has been taken care of. And we're starting to come by through to the finale bit of this race. We're coming to the final part of this race. So after 6 laps, everyone's going to come back into the pits. Durdude will lead him the way. Bentley 5 just so close on fuel. And
so Palmer's going to put a foot wrong.
Has he put it wrong? Oh, he really has. So we'll take a look and see what's happened to Palmer, because I saw some suspension damage on the front end of that M6 GT3.
Something happened to Elliott too on the way out too.
Oh, very late on the brakes for Palmer. You're not stopping that in time. Oh, and really, really hard into the wall. Oh, and Elliott's actually botched up the pit entry as well.
Oh, man.
You know that so you know the pit entry, right? He's clipped the he's clipped the left side of the pit entry wall.
Wow.
He's actually clipped it. Wow. No way.
So even the playing field once again here.
Yeah, really. Holy moly. And so lots of pit stops coming in once again. James Head and Chris Crow this time all in. James Head back on out. Grand J10 bar. Oh, Grand J10's had a bit of an incident somewhere. Oh, and he's very, very loose on the grass. And so...
and he's wide the grass again.
Excuse me. Whew. And so after everything stands, Bentley 5 only 1.7 seconds clear of Swift. And there is the difference right there between the 8 and the 95. Of course, these two, you don't really see them battling out that much on the racetrack, but I think they might have their first real legitimate battle here on the Nordschleife, the test of man versus machine, or should I say man and machine versus man and machine versus man and machine. First in the pro standings, third in the pro standings. And so we'll see what happens to this race right about here. And there is Swift in the 95. We haven't monitored his progress the last couple of the last lap or so, because he's been really trying to capitalize on his mistakes about 2 laps ago on his third lap. And so he's really trying to get what's left out of he can for this point. As a matter of fact as well, the only time that Swift's gotten podiums is first and second. He's never gotten a third place in the pro standings in terms of a podium. Now on the other hand, now because you have Durdude, who's a Pro-Am guy, who is in first place, Swift is still theoretically in second place. So a class win for Swift is not that far off. As a matter of fact, Durdude isn't even that far off from these guys as well, because Ben95 is only 3.6 seconds off of Durdude, who's been leading this race, I think, since lap number 3, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Durdude is trying to hold on whenever he can. And so he's going to have his work cut for him. Maybe in the next lap or so, we'll see a battle here going on in the top 3 here.
And we'll being big sideways moment for Swift. I'm pretty sure that was And that was a major sideways moment there, right there for Swift. Could have easily gone wrong, but correctly saved. Let's take a look at it again here real quickly. And oh, I think that was a miniature lag spike right there. I don't think Swift, he lost too much time, but he is still in hot pursuit of Battle 85 and especially Durdude for the overall race lead. And there is the gap right there. Durdude is not even that far off. Durdude is rounding the carousel. He's exited the carousel. Battle 85 and Swift are just exiting the carousel now as we speak. And it's now 3 seconds of gap now between Durdude and Battle 85. The two Germans leading the way here in this British and Dutch race. TGIS as well, also leaving the race as well. So we didn't catch that as well early on. So TGIS and the Porsche Development RSR ending his season with a retirement as well.
Yeah, a lot of these guys not having the day that they wanted. Started 15-4, have retired. One including me, of course.
Well, you kind of have to take this into consideration. The Nürburgring ain't for the faint of heart. Let's set that straight. The Nürburgring is one of those courses where it's like you need to have absolutely every bit of concentration that you can get, and it's not a particularly easy course to lap or hot lap if you think about it.
Not at all. You have to be deadly consistent here. That's all you have to be is just consistent. You don't have to be fast. You have to be consistent. That's what Durdude is doing an excellent job of doing here right now.
Yep, the gap now back up now to 3.7 seconds. I think this third section of the course here, where it's just pretty much just all turnings, basically for the most part, and it just kind of gets all like it's all really about the cornering capabilities of your car that makes this car make or break in Sector 3. When it gets to the not Sector 3, this third part of the course, Ben 85 has had an incident somewhere, and he's lost out a lot of time.
Oh man, he's lost a ton of time, at least 10 seconds.
And so, if that's the case, it is. Swift is back up into the Pro Class lead at the moment. And so he's back up in the in his race lead, basically.
Also, Palmer has had an incident somewhere on the racetrack as he's dropped down to P6 at the moment. Behind Hair Razor and Doug Barrow and Elliott.
Yeah, I think, whatchamacallit, I think Elliott is got himself back up to P4 now, so he's back up into a podium contending spot. Doug Barrow and Palmer not even that far off as well for the season finale here of the Straight Line Motorsports GT3 Championship. There was second place up there, penalty 5, so Elliott is not even that far off behind. And there is Swift, who is leading this pro race, and Durdude even that far up ahead as well. And he's just rounding the last bit of this lap. So lap 8, and I think we'll be looking to see about 2-ish more laps here, including this one.
Yeah, I think 2 laps ago is the right number here. We're now taking it to turn 1, now turn 2. Up Nordschleife. He's going to have to really push that car hard if he wants a good podium, good solid win here if he can get one.
And so we'll go back a little ways down the order where we see Elliott still leading ahead of Doug Barrow and Palmer. I think Doug Barrow and Palmer might be having starting to have a battle of their own. So Palmer's had his hands pretty much busy all day with somebody else, even if it's, you know, everyone. He's always been having a battle with somebody, and he's always having his hands full. I think that's pretty much the reason why he's not up further up as much as Swift and Ben 85 are. So I think they've pretty much cleared off, and they've been able to get some free air and be able to just get away. Palmer, on the other hand, just not has had he's just had his hands full for pretty much all race long.
Oh yeah, Palmer has had just an up and down sorts of events, but he's still keeping that car relatively inside the top 6 this whole race.
And we'll see how this race plays off with Palmer and Doug Barrow. Of course, that row themed livery on the number 24. Oh, and Palmer, just nearly got it off at one of the most highest speeds parts of the circuit. And that was extremely close.
Yeah, have to absolutely be, you know, kind of drive that car very, very well. There's the platform inside and out, and I think that... Oh, and Doug Barrow's gone, had an incident. Oh, he's had a contact with Palmer.
So an incident for the number 13 of Doug Barrow. We'll take a look and see what that incident was all about.
Looks like Doug Barrow just took it a little bit too hot in the corner right there. Lost the rear end a little bit there.
Yeah, we'll see what that incident was all about. Oh, a lot of momentum coming in. Yeah, he took a bit too much speed going into one of the possibly the slowest parts of the circuit. And so that's going to be, once again, another relegation further back for Doug Barrow than he doesn't need it to be, of course.
Yeah, it really seems you two are going to really duke it out here these last 2 laps here. They're going to fight for the final position in the top 5 here.
Well, if you think about it, oh, is that a position change? That is Durden who's gone around!
Oh, man.
And it's at the same part that Swift gone off as well. And yes, it is indeed. That's the same exact part that Swift had an off as well. So our Pro-Am leader, who has been leading this race pretty much since the 3rd or 2nd lap, Durden has finally put a foot wrong. And of course, everyone falling to the green hell, of course.
So now, Swift leading this race just by over close to 7 seconds now over the program leader of Durden. And what a shame for the German right there, Durden. Such a strong day, such a strong car. All for that to happen.
Swift is a little bit lucky here because, of course, I think this race could have gone a lot worse for him, but I think after his one incident, he was really able to just keep it going and going and going and going, and he was just able to find the clean air, and he was able to just get on by.
Yeah, obviously getting involved in an incident somewhere earlier in the race, but took his time, weighed his patience, and look, it's paid off. Now Swift just taking a sweet old time around this green hell track for possibly the last lap and a half of this race.
Yeah, we'll see what's going on further back down the field now, because we've got our hands full now, because James Head and Hairraiser are having a battle for 7th place at the moment for the time being. And that, of course, is at the Hoyt corner. And, of course, going further up the field, Doug Barrow and Palmer have another battle of their own. That is at Brunken, known as YouTube Corner by so many people around at the Nürburgring community. So like I said, yeah, that corner just known as YouTube Corner. Say hi to those that are watching from the one well-famed area of the Nordschleife.
It seems like Doug Barrow's actually catching Elliott here for 4th place, if I'm thinking right.
Yeah, that's what I kind of noticed too. It kind of looks like Doug Barrow is starting to get a bit more life out of that Mercedes AMG, and is just going to try and see if he can be able to excuse me, sneak one more Mercedes onto the podium, of course.
So we'll see right here if Elliott can handle a hard charging Doug Barrow for 4th place in this race.
Yeah, we'll take a back moment up to Swift for the meanwhile. And I think he will just only get one more lap, the final lap of his SLM GT3 championship winning season here. And I think it's just time to start your cooldown now, because Swift has done the work. He's just only got one more lap of the Nordschleife to do, and then he could finally breathe. He could finally relax and call himself champion. But one more ride, one more last time by the start-finish straight for one more lap here, and he gets the fastest lap to boot as well as 6:33.1. What a lap that was. He's about 9 seconds past back from the closest opposition. Doug Barrow gets a bit by the number 13. Oh, and Elliott, oh, just really, really close on that one.
So we can see a last lap battle here for these two.
And you can see some of the damage on that DBR9. One of the headlights is actually cracked on that on the front of that car. So a bit of an incident for the 4th and 5th place running cars. And so, of course, Elliott not going to back down as of yet in this number 64.
He never quits till the checkered flag is out in his face. That's for sure.
And so, one last time by for Elliott. Oh, just really on it here at the... Oh, at the... Yeah, at the Klitterbacher Ho. And then going up to Flugplatz. Easily one of the fastest corners on the circuit. You let off, and then you hold down the throttle all the way down till you get to Arenberg. And then look at it, and we'll take a look at this as well. Look at the back section of the course. Look at how much that Aston Martin DBR9 is closing, but not close enough as of yet. So Elliott now realizing that he's too far back away to make a move. But this battle for this final pro podium spot is going to be absolutely electric here today. Doug Barrow only has 1 podium this season. He would like to add a little bit more to his silverware collection. Elliott now, just really going to try and force a mistake out of Doug Barrow, but to no avail, is going to keep Doug Barrow up in 4th place for the time being.
Yeah, it's really trying to push hard here. Oh, Doug Barrow looks like he's going to put wrong. Let's get out the floor for Elliott to sneak out by for 4th place here.
And for now, it's going to be a 4th place for Elliott, but he's on the inside, but he's going to make it work. Oh, what a sideways moment for Elliott, and he was able to still keep it in for 4th place for the time being.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a hair-raising pass for Elliott, almost sideways in front of the...
Did you just say that because there was hair raiser in the lobby, of course?
No.
No. So no pun intended, of course, for that one. Doug Barrow's still going to try and force up the inside, but this means Palmer is going to join this as a 3-way fight. Oh, I thought there was a bit of contact between one of the 3 cars in this battle for 4th place. So this is going to be absolutely livid, of course.
Yeah, this battle here is going to go all the way to the end of the race here, it seems. But Elliott trying to manage these 2 German machines that know this track very, very well. The Brit driver in the Brit car. He's putting the work for that DBR9 right now.
And we'll see what he can do in the final lap of this race. Of course, he's got half a way to go. He's past Bergwerk, onto Kesselchen, and of course to the Mutt Curve, Klostero, and then Steel Streak, then the Carousel, which is where Swift is about to make his way now in the leading 95. An up and down day for the Brit in the 95 AMG, but I think he's going to end it up on a high here today for the most part. He's only got about 2.5 minutes of running to go in the Straight Line Motorsports GT3 Championship, and then he can finally breathe and finally relax. Oh, he's still pushing it aggressive because he knows that Durdude is still 8 seconds back, but considering it is the Nordschleife, you can lose a lot of time if you play conservative, of course. Swift going a bit too wide onto the grass at Hedwig's Ho. Now down to Whipperman, or now going to Ossenbach and to Brunken, right up to YouTube corner. On board now with the 95 of Swift. There is YouTube corner. The crowd looking above and beyond at this young driver's talents. And he's about to make it 6 wins for 12 races, so a perfect 50% winning ratio here within the Straight Line Motorsports GT3 Pro Championship if he does not put a foot wrong. There is still a long way to go to the line. And Swift's looking set to take another another win here today in the GT3 Championship.
Yeah, this man all season has just shown his dominance, his driving style, and his capacity and capability to win a race and get the job done.
He's rounding the Klein's carousel for one final time. Then going towards the Galgenkopf for one final time as well, and then he's going to start his descent down the Dottingterhoe for one final time as well for this season. What a season it has been for the 95. Like I said, 6 wins in 12 races thus far, and he's also going to add on top of that 3 more second place podium finishes as well, so a 75% podium record ratio. What a season it has been for the 95 of Swift. He's coming to this race 21 points ahead of his nearest rival, Ure, but unfortunately he had his disconnect, and that meant Swift was going to just take an easy ride here at the green hell of the Nordschleife, coming to the Hochenrhein for one final time. He's only got a couple more corners to go, rounding the final corner right now. And as for Swift, he will cross the finish line and win the race and become your 2019-2020 Straight Line Motorsports GT3 champion.
Also taking his Pro-Am championship as well is going to be Durdu. He will cross the line 2nd overall, 1st in Pro-Am, and take the Pro-Am championship home with him.
Ben 85, what a season he's had for 3rd. He's going to cap it off with a 2nd place in Pro here today.
Elliott Epps in the number 64 DBR9 will come home for 4th place as well. Palmer in 5th. And then it looks like Doug Farrell will come home for 6th place.
And James Head will come home for P7. And this is where everyone starts to begin and relax for the most part. And James Head rounding the final corner in his number 7 Nissan GTR. He will come home for 6th in Pro, 7th overall. Hellraiser for 7th in class, 8th overall. Oh, that didn't sound good. And there is Chris the Crow, 2nd in Pro-Am. And so he will come home and cap off a really good season for the most part in the 71.
Possibly 2nd in the Pro-Am championship.
Oh, definitely as well. So he will come home for 2nd in Pro-Am as well. You can see how very happy he is about that one.
Absolutely indeed. Well, it's been a
Grand
good
J10 and
time.
Bar 27 are only 10 seconds apart from each other. Are only 12 seconds apart from each other, so technically there is still a race going on, even though this race is pretty much over.
Absolutely. So I think my time in the commentary box is over. And
I'm gonna invite everyone into the party. So don't you worry, my friend.
No, I've got to go.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, SD Viper once again going off. Oh, Grand J10 hard into the wall. We'll see if we can get a look at that as well. We'll see what the issue with that was right about there. See what happened right there. Oh, did he just completely understeer off? Oh, so I think a bit of an understeering moment right there for Grand J10. Bar 27 is only about 6 seconds back behind, so he is still in with a chance at not getting last. So we'll go on board now with Bar 27. So granted, these guys only separated by 5-ish seconds. So Grand J10 only 5.96 seconds up ahead of his fellow Pro-Am competitor, Bar 27. So these guys are still in it with a fight. Oh, bar 27 going off a bit too much at the Ossenbach corner. And going to Brunken of YouTube corner. Oh, and he's already going to get a couple of views on that for YouTube as well. And there is Grand J10 as well, who's not that far off to the line, to the goods. So Grand J10 going to pass Garden to Schwarzwalden. Oh god, that one corner name, I'm not even going to be able to pronounce that. And then, of course, running the Klein's Carousel. And then he'll be rounding the Galgenkopf. And so, Grand J10 will round the corner. Oh, and he's going to understeer right to the entry of Dottinger Ho. Bar 27 can gain a bit of time here, and he does. He nails the Dottinger Ho correctly. You can see Grand J10 off in the distance. Of course, 7 seconds, 6 seconds now, starting to come down a little bit because of that loss of speed that Grand J10 had at the entry of the Dottinger Ho. And so, Bar 27 and Grand J10 gonna be able to finish their race as well. It seemed like an eternity for the other 9 people that were able to finish well ahead of them. But of course, patience will come into play here. And the Grand J10 will be able to get a podium finishing spot in the number 15. He'll be able to finish this race, and he'll take home 3rd for Pro-Am. Bar 27 for 4th in class and 11th overall. So there is your race winner, Swift, in the 95 AMG. And now let the podium celebrations begin, because Swift is your 2019-2020 GT3 champion from SLM. You can see him raising the trophy. What an effort he's had all season long. So we'll get our podium finishers. And actually, we'll get, as a matter of fact, everyone in the party as well, because, like I said, we'll get everyone who was able to finish this race into the party, so we can all gather together around for one last time. And so, like I said, we'll get everyone in this party as well. So that was a lot of people to invite into the party as well, but I think we'll start and get everyone in the party as they come. Of course, we do want to get, like I said, we do want to get everyone into the party as well, because it is the end of the season as well, and of course we want to recollect and retrain our thoughts as well for basically everything that's played a part in this party. So everyone, welcome to the get-together party as well. Of course, we will be talking to our podium finishers before we do commence our final season get-togethers as well. So we're still waiting on our 2 Pro and Pro-Am race winners thus far. So we'll wait for Swift, we'll wait for Durdude, we'll wait for Ben85, and we'll wait for everyone else to finish up joining the party as...
That's right.
Go ahead. Go ahead. And so everyone joining the party as well. Of course, we made it to the end of the season. So how does everyone feel that now that the season is over? Unfortunately, it must be sad for everyone.
Thank God for that.
Thank God it's over.
Guys, we've got the reconnaissance lap now. If we could all form up in championship positions before this round.
Yeah, let's see where. Oh God. Oh jeez. Oh, everyone's below the track for me. Oh my God. Everyone's below the track. Everyone's below the track for me. What is going on?
everyone form up in championship winning positions.
Yep.
Before the race.
Yep. So while we wait for that, we do have our GT3 Pro Championship winner, Swift in the 95. You have done the hard work and you have won the championship. How do you feel about your championship win right now?
I really wanted to battle with Yere, so it's a shame. It was a good race, I thought, chasing down Dude and Benel.
Yeah, unfortunately for Yere, we did wish that Yere was able to come by and be able to do the race, but I guess the internet wasn't able to hold up for him. But of course, you did do all the hard work. You did everything you did necessary to win the championship, and now you are 2019-2020 Straight Line Motorsports GT3 Championship, and you also capped out another win here today, your 6th win of the season. Tell us about your race today at the Nordschleife.
I think it was a bit messy until the final stint. The final stint, I think it was just, I didn't think I made a single mistake. I think I set a 6:32 at 6:33 and then maybe a 6:34 for the final lap with the cars going. But the first two stints, I don't know what lap I made I dipped a wheel at Exmoor. Yeah, I don't recall which lap it was. It was either 2 or 3, and then Dude passed. Then there was a move into Klostertal, the fast left-hander uphill, which really isn't anywhere should be going too wide. And then when I was in the battle, then I got stuck in the midfield. So I think in the second stint, I was battling with people like Benel, Doug, and I think it was Palmer. And me and Palmer went too wide into the very slow left-hander after YouTube corner, and 2 into 1 didn't go, so I think I got forced a bit wide and had a mini spin, and then after that it was a lot of fun. It was just me chasing down the leaders, and I managed to catch them, and unfortunately Dude made a mistake when we were just about to have a battle.
Yeah, it looked like a very good race for Durda, because it looked like he was set to take a really historic Pro-Am overall win, but I think he's just had the same exact incident at, what's that corner name?
Yeah.
At, I think it's just after Exumul or something like that. I think something along that.
It was Exmuller, yeah.
Yeah, so he literally had the same exact incident as you did earlier in the right in the race, but yeah, I don't think that mattered.
It's a difficult corner. I think on lap 2, it was either on lap 1 or 2. I actually made a mistake there, and but I didn't spin. What I chose to do was commit to the grass rather than try it, because you will spin that, but only if you dip your wide wheel onto the curb. If you just go onto the grass, you can still make it out alive. So it's high risk, and I missed out on lap 3, I think.
Yeah, and so it looked like that one corner kind of caught you off and a couple other people off as well. It didn't catch a lot of people off as well. It's caught me off in the past as well. But of course, yeah. So we'll whatchamacallit? So yeah, we'll move on with podium interviews as well for Benel 85. Benel 85, you had a pretty good day as well for your number 8 Toyota Supra, and you, I think, pretty sure clinched 3rd in the pro standings as well. Tell us about your race today as well. So, of course, a tough race for Benel 85, but of course he's very happy with the end result as well. 3rd place in the pro standings as well, so a good season for him as well. Also, another question for you as well. It looked like you had a couple of incidents as well. Was there anything you probably could have done differently in that race with the incidents that you had in the race? there was a couple incidents that you had in the race as well. It looked like, was there any possibility of you doing anything different, or are you pretty satisfied with your end race result? So, of course, a couple moves for penalty 5, but of course, pretty satisfied with the end result as well. And then we will move on to our third place man, which is Elliot F64. So, another good day for you in the box office as well, Elliot. Tell us about your race today as well in that DBR9 GT1.
I didn't finish on the track in third, but we'll see what happens after the race.
You finished fourth overall, but third in class. So.
Oh, I see. Oh, yeah, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Dreadful race. Driving standards were atrocious by several drivers today. It'll be looked at, and we'll see what happens in terms of championship results. But no, a bad day today.
So not a good day for Elliot. Of course, concluding his SLM GT3 season as well. We'll move on to a couple other of runners as well. We'll actually start out with, I don't think Krista Crow's in here as well. I think we'll go to Grand J10 as well, who actually finished third in the Pro-Am standings as well today, because I don't think we have Durdude and Krista Crow as well today. Grand J10, of course, another Pro-Am podium for you as well. Tell us about your race today as well. Yeah, and so, of course, kind of an up-down day for Grand J10, but of course a third-place podium is a third-place podium at the end of the day, so a good day for you, Grand J10. And we'll see who we can get our hands on. Polymer, there's Polymer right there. So, Polymer, for you, it is your final race with us in the GT3 category, but you still have mods this next week to go. Tell us about your concluding finale race to the SLM GT3 season.
It's a stressful one, very stressful one. Yeah, I mean, it's a very hard track to get right, obviously. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a lot of very good battles, especially with Doug and Elliot. Yeah, I mean, of course, driving standards, of course, weren't the best, of course. Yeah, you know, it was. I think overall, I think it was a good finish to the GT3 season. I think a good sort of send-off as well.
So Palmer in the number 24, of course, a good send-off for him, as well as he finishes fourth in Pro today as well. We'll move on to Doug Barrow in the Mercedes AMG GT3, the number 13, who takes home a top 5 finish in the Pro category by finishing 6th. Doug Barrow, how did you do for your race here today?
The race went all right. I don't know what was going on. I had some grip issues like mid-race, and the times where the car shouldn't have fallen off and it fell off, which cost me because I got up into second at one point and was closing that gap to Durdude. But that was early days in the race. There were some driving standard issues. There were places where overtakes shouldn't have been attempted where they were for some people, that just made things very difficult. But other than that, it's a good race. If there hadn't have been some miscommunication in the season, I would have loved to have changed cars earlier in the season and possibly been higher up in the championship, but because the NSX wasn't competitive and I gave it the best shot at that. It was a fun car to drive. I don't regret it, but you know, it would have been nice to change. But a good race overall, good few battles with a few people, and apart from the mistakes I made, it was fun.
So a late season switch for the Mercedes AMG, kind of pulling off some dividends, but yeah, driving standards the norm here for post-race interviews, more or less. I'm pretty sure we have James Head as well in the party. I think he's in the party. So let me take a look to see if he is somehow in the party. Yeah, James Head. Yeah, James Head. We'll go to you, bud. Yeah, so we'll go to you, James Head. Of course, James Head. Kind of an up and down day for you as well. Of course, you do finish, I think 6th in the pro category as well. Tell us about your race today, bud.
Honestly, it was a bit of a lonesome race, to be honest. Just didn't have the pace at all in the car. The car, I may say, is absolutely shocking around this track. Thanks, Elliot, for that one. But yeah, overall very happy with the performance. Felt like as soon as I got into the race, the more I was getting into the race and the more confident I was getting. Obviously not the result I wanted. I wanted a top 5, but then again, penalties might swing into my way if it does get a 25-second penalty. That is, of course. That's my hope, but it's going to be very unlikely.
We can't comment on that right now.
Oh, Elliot.
Yeah, that'll be quite unlikely. But yeah, the race was very good from my perspective, and obviously my championship will come next week, hopefully, where I intend to make an announcement if I win the championship.
You won't.
So an announcement potentially for our MX5 championship leader, James Head, as well. Of course, capping off his GT3 season off. Did wish for a better day as well. But of course, he'll take what he can get, obviously. Also, as a matter of fact, we'll move on to one of the drivers who, unfortunately, I really did wish as well, and I'm pretty sure Swift would say the same thing as me as well. We both did hope that he did race ERA. Unfortunately, it looks like things just did not go for you, buddy. Tell us how you feel right about now. So, of course, ERA, unfortunately, having internet issues. Of course, he enjoyed racing Swift in the season while he can. And, of course, hopefully that Slide Max winner works and can be on the grid present once again for the next championship. And, of course, hopefully at Max can be hoping for the championship. But I think the good thing for we can all agree on this, I think, is that, you know, despite what's happened today, ERA just, I don't think I would say don't take this victory as a loss. I'd say you do have the prime contention for a championship win, but don't let it slip from your hands again. You're a quick driver, and I think everyone here mostly knows that, and you do have some caliber of being able to contend for championships, so don't let this loss get to you that harshly, buddy. And so we'll see in the future for ERA as well. Very, very prime caliber contender driver as well as Swift. Two amazing drivers for me to follow up on for the majority of this season as well. For all of those as well that I did not interview as well, if you would like a little interview talk as well, please state your claim now.
Hey, Razor.
Hey, Razor, buddy, where are you out on track? You are in the pits, so... Yeah. So, Hair Razor, it has been kind of an up and down season for you as well. I don't think you were able to land on the podium, unfortunately, as much, but I think to Doug's credit, to cite Doug Barrow as well, I think he said the NSX was not that competitive as well. I think if you were in a different car, would you be up on the podium a couple of times this season?
I think I probably would be, yes. I did struggle with the NSX quite a lot. And it's obviously the first race with the Mercedes, and it was great fun, and it stuck much better on the track. And I had a great battle with Palmer. Unfortunately, I did tap him, and by accident. But these things happen in racing, and you do your best. But yeah, we had some great battles, and then of course I had a bit of pressure as well from I think it was Elliot. He was coming up quite quick, and that gave me a sweat on a bit,
A sweat on.
So good battles all around for Hair Razor. Of course, did cite that the NSX was the downfall of your potential quests for podiums as well. But of course, there is the next podium as well, the Ferrari World Challenge as well. We do have another championship as well that is on the potential basis of being announced as well, but we're not 100% sure. But Ferrari World Challenge, our main next prime caliber championship as well. And of course, we'll see if we can get a bit more drivers as well. Yes, TGIS, buddy. We still have you to get in the spotlight as well. Of course, you did retire early on in the 911 RSR. What was the main reason for that retirement as well?
Well, coming into this race, I didn't really know the track, so I already knew I was on the back foot. Just after the first lap, everything went wrong, and it was just, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing about the Nordschleife. It's kind of like it's really one of those really few courses out there in the world that's just kind of like you have to know every single bit of it to just remain competitive. Most courses where it's just like, oh, you can like know like a bit of the course and like be good on it, and then it's just like you can lose a bit of time and still somewhat be competitive. The Nürburgring, however, you just need to be absolutely competitive every single corner you go into, obviously.
Yeah.
And so the number 78, who's just punted off Palmer. And I think Palmer is just going to get a bit of a taste of revenge for that one real shortly as well. And so I think Palmer not going to be happy about that one. Palmer, I think, is going to activate his inner Lando Norris real shortly as well.
Typical Dutchie.
Yep, he's just going to be right up on him as well. End of season shenanigans at it once again. He's going to go for the dive bomb. He's absolutely dumped him into the corner. And so, of course, end of season shenanigans once again as well. Swift taking, like I said, the GT3 Pro Championship, who's absolutely going backwards on the course as well. So he's the championship going backwards on the course, which is going to be... So he's already.
They do actually do this like once a year. There's a rally stage, and there's a special rally stage at the Nürburgring where they do it in reverse.
Oh, I've known about that before, but yeah, they do. Yeah, like you said, they do run it backwards. So yeah, you. So let's see how quick Swift can rally raid the 95 around. Oh, and he's put it in the wall.
The rear my rear tires are
your rear tires are gone. So, ladies and gentlemen, and Swift with the pirouette gets it around the other way. Oh my god, the rear tires are just gone. And so the victory donuts for Swift once again. Taking prime caliber attention. There he goes once again, ladies and gentlemen, your 2019-2020 Straight Line Motorsports GT3 Pro Champion in the 95 Deutsche Post themed Mercedes-AMG GT3. And ladies and gentlemen, let me just say what an absolute honor it has been to provide you commentary for pretty much all 12 races of the season, except for that one race for James Head that he did for my 21st birthday as well. So James Head, it's taken me a long time to say it, but thank you for providing commentary for that one Pro-Am race as well at Monza. But ladies and gentlemen, like I said, it has been an absolute honor here to provide you commentary. Yes, Elliot, I heard you whispering in the background.
No, that wasn't me, but I will chime in because I wanted to anyway. I'd just like to thank Trevor for doing the commentary, and James for that one round as well. This couldn't have been possible without you guys. I'd like to thank yourself.
So I'm gonna just basically be like, oh Jesus. Oh, it was you, TJ. So what I'm going to do real quickly is just, if you guys have any end of season thoughts, please share them now. Of course, I'll be here to keep them on the live stream as well and make sure they're PG as well. So, so if you have any end of season thoughts, please share them now while you can. Go ahead. Go ahead, Bar. Oh yeah. What is it, Bar? So it just did not work out. Okay. But yeah, it looks like you've had a pretty good season as well to boot as well in the GT3 Pro-Am class as well. Of course, not many people at the end of the season, but of course you can take what you can get. Third place at the end of the season as well. So how do you feel about that, buddy? Yeah, so of course another 4th place for you in the Pro-Am standing category as well, but you take 3rd place in the standings as well. So a good day for you to cap it off with a end of the season result for 3rd place in the standings as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, that should bring us to the end of this season. If you do have any thoughts, guys, in the party as well, please, you are more than welcome to share them out loud and about with everyone else as well.
Palmer's going down next week.
I can confirm that both Palmer and James are going down next week.
Oh,
I
we
say
got.
you all going down next week.
Clean and fair racing rule, that's what I say.
I'm having it.
26 points between us, anything can happen.
Anything really can happen.
I'm going to get the win in the race ones, what are you on about?
Oh.
You can't let it be now.
Yeah.
Shush.
Yeah, and so, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, what an absolute honor it has been for me here to be bringing you commentary for the 12 races and many for the 12 weeks of SLM GT3 competition we've had here in this league. Of course, like I said, I will be back for next week for one final time as well with Maz's as well, where there is still a 3-way fight for that championship as well. And of course, like I said, I'll be back for our next championship, the Ferrari GT World Challenge Series as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in for the Straight Line Motorsports GT3 Championship. Swift taking home the race win with his 6th win of the season and taking home the GT Pro-Am Pro Championship as well. Dude, of course, we weren't able to interview him, but I assume he's absolutely on it with the liquor, I imagine. And of course, he'll be celebrating tonight with his Pro-Am Championship as well. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. If you did enjoy our live stream commentaries as well, do leave a like, leave a comment, and if you're so inclined to, please leave a subscription as well. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. We will bring you more commentary as well in the future. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. I've been the host and commentator for today's race, ST1_RDZ, and we will see you guys next time.